Welcome to the Woodpreneur Podcast, the best podcast for the business and marketing side of the sawmill, lumber, and wood industry. What's a woodpreneur? If you have a business where you make money as a woodworker, sawmill owner, selling slabs, or a content creator, then you're a woodpreneur. My name's Steve Larosiliere, and I started Woodpreneur Life, Acres of Timber, and the Woodpreneur Podcast just for makers, wood entrepreneurs, and small business owners just like you. We're on a mission to empower thousands of wood businesses to grow sustainably and put out great products. Each week, I interview makers, sawyers, content creators, and 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs that know the wood industry inside and out. With topics covering everything from the urban lumber movement, sustainable sourcing and design, we'll discuss the ins and outs of how to grow, monetize, and fully immerse yourself in the woodpreneur lifestyle. If you're a hobbyist, a full-time wood business owner, part-time entrepreneur who wants to become a content creator, or quit your day job to pursue your dreams, the Woodpreneur Podcast is just for you. Thanks so much for listening. Now enjoy this episode. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur Podcast. Who's your host, Steve Larosiliere, and our new co-host, Jennifer Alger. So our guest today is Chris Hitchcock from Coyote Custom Woodwork. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, you guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Hey, so why don't you tell us about your business? Give us the origin story.
Basically just started kind of self-taught, always been an artist, started oil painting, working with mixed media when I was younger, and then just always kind of had a passion for building stuff. Started getting into doing a lot of set design and stage props for some friends' bands and some music festivals. So that's how it kind of got me into like the building process and doing like larger scale stuff. And then, just trying to navigate like the art world. It's tough making money off art, so it's important to find something functional that you can make a living off of. And I just kind of started winging it and building tables and stuff like that, simple stuff. And just really, really kind of fell in love with working with wood, and kind of just evolved from there. Started getting jobs working with the surf industry, doing like a lot of displays and stuff like that. And then eventually connecting with some interior designers and starting doing more like kind of residential high-end cabinets. And that's where I'm at today.
Very cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, your work is really, really beautiful. When did you get started? What year?
I think I probably really started getting into woodworking like around 2015-ish, probably. So it's been about 10 years, I would say.
Amazing.
Your work says you've been at it longer. I followed you on Instagram for quite a while, actually, before I even knew anything about doing this podcast, and it's would not have expected that.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
How'd you start developing your own sense of style?
Say that one more time.
How'd you start developing your own sense of style?
I think I've always been kind of drawn to like geometric patterns and stuff like that. So some of my earlier woodworking stuff, I was doing like a lot of marquetry and like a lot of kind of geometric tables and stuff like that. That's the stuff that I like really enjoy. And then I just always been drawn to kind of the unique woodworking stuff as opposed to like your standard paint grade kitchen cabinets. I really like a lot of like fluted texture and reading and angled type of stuff. So I guess I just kind of draw my influence from things that I see, whether I'm conscious or unconscious of my inspirations. But yeah, I'd probably say that's
incredible. How did you identify who your ideal client was? Because when you're putting your stuff out, there's a lot of tire kickers and people that undervalue your work. How did you start to refine who your ideal customer was?
Honestly, I have so many friends that are like really creative, whether they're musicians or surfboard shapers or pro surfers, and I think just through knowing so many people over the years, and I kind of got connected like first with the surf industry, like had some buddies that worked for some pretty well-known brands and needed like trade show booth build outs and stuff like that. And so I kind of got started with that, which was cool because in those types of settings, like it's not super standard, like generic type of stuff. Like they want their booth to look really cool and unique. So that's so that was cool. And then from there, just honestly, like almost 90% of my business is word of mouth. So I work with like a lot of great designers, and they keep me real busy. So yeah, I would say like most of my clientele is through the interior designers that I work with now, and they definitely keep me pretty stacked on the schedule for sure.
Can I ask who you have worked with in the shaping world? Worked with Josh Martin. That's what I'm getting at. He's a
No, I haven't.
Oh, you should. He's amazing.
Yeah, I got some buddies like Alex Nost and some of those guys that have been shaping for a while. Tyler Warren's a good buddy of mine. He's a really good surfboard shaper. Yeah.
Did you
have to try.
what I was gonna ask? Did you used to do stuff for ASR?
No, we did Agenda.
Agenda. Okay.
Yeah, that's a big one in Long Beach.
Yeah.
So did a couple booths for this company called Banks, and a couple other companies too. But yeah, it was fun.
That's awesome. So what's the most exciting project or achievement in your career so far?
I would say as far as exciting, like a lot of the set design stuff I was doing was super exciting because it was more along the lines of doing super large scale art installations as opposed to like, you know, the woodworking furniture custom cabinets. Those were definitely the most fun for sure. You know, we were like doing basically just me and a buddy were handling like an entire festival grounds, which was like, you know, 5,000 to 10,000 people, and just doing all the stages, all the art. So it was a ton of work, and it was late hours and kind of super hectic, especially like setting up late night, switching stages and stuff like that. But I would say those were probably like my most exciting jobs, just because I could have like full creative freedom with those.
That's incredible. And so where were these? Were they in Southern California too?
Southern California, yeah, primarily like LA and some like Orange County.
Wow, they got a deal. 2 people to build out the whole area.
Yeah, they've been like really good like childhood friends of mine for a long time.
For sure.
And so like we kind of always had this like really cool family of like creative friends that just kind of all work together. And so yeah, it was cool. It was awesome. The one thing that was interesting was like transitioning back to doing custom cabinets and woodworking after I was building these like huge kind of off the wall structures. It was like almost hard to get back into that like refined mindset.
Yeah, a lot more structured and needs to meet certain things instead of letting your creative flair go, huh?
Totally. And I think at the end of the day, like I just enjoy the process. I just enjoy knowing that I built something with my 2 hands and seeing it like after my install, you know, and watching it kind of evolve, and then just stepping back and like just kind of taking in like the whole thing as a whole, just being stoked that, you know, I built that like by myself. And that's always a really good feeling. I get a lot of creative satisfaction out of that, I think.
It's awesome.
What's one challenge or obstacle that you faced in your work, and how did you overcome it?
I think I've had a lot, just being self-taught, and just, you know, like I've always kind of taken on new projects, even if I've like haven't worked with the hardware, the wood texture, anything, because I kind of know like I'm pretty intuitive and I'll be able to figure it out. So I feel like I kind of have dealt with those challenges like my whole career, just like trying to navigate like, how the heck am I going to build this thing, you know, and just kind of teaching myself as I'm building how to build it. And luckily, you know, there's definitely been more victories than failures. And yeah, it's been an awesome journey for sure.
Do you like stretching yourself that way, or do you feel like, oh, I don't want to get out of my comfort zone? Like what's your vibe there?
I feel like I tell myself I don't, because it's difficult. And then at the end of the project, I get that satisfaction out of it because I'm like, know that I kind of overcame the challenge.
Yeah.
And the best part about doing something that you haven't done before is now you know how to do it. And so I can add that skill set to my next job and suggest that as like a design technique or influence that we can kind of include in the next one.
Yeah, yeah, that's very cool. I would think that would be a good sense of pride, with having that next thing under your belt,
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Do you ever what's your favorite wood to work with? Like what do you like to use in your builds? Like is there one that just, man, I really want to do that?
Honestly, like I really love working in walnut, and I think it's funny because probably 90% of everything I've built in the last 5 years has been white oak. White oak's just this like super trending. Yeah, it's super hot right now, and like it's actually really annoying to work with because it's like super splintery. Like if you want to like use a router on it, you got to do like, 3 to 5 passes, where sometimes when I work on walnut, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can like route this thing in like 1 or 2 passes and it's super clean and it's super buttery. So I definitely think walnut one of my
I'm up
favorites.
in walnut country, so yeah, we have a lot of walnut up here in Northern California. It's definitely awesome. Where are you getting a white oak from? Where do you source your wood?
So I usually go to an awesome store called Austin Hardwoods. They're in Santa Ana, and that's where I usually get like most of my lumber from them. They have like a great selection.
And so most of it's sourced. Have you ever considered sourcing white oak from from your local region that grew down in Southern California that's got some character in it? I wonder if
I
that
haven't.
spice up the oak life for you.
I haven't. There's actually this really cool place that I've worked with some of their lumber. It's called Street Tree Revival. And
Those friends, they're friends of yours, Jennifer.
Yeah.
yeah, Big John.
Yeah. Yeah. Know him well.
Yeah. And they just do like, it's really cool how they kind of take down like, like sickened trees, or if a city wants to like remove some trees, which is cool because they get so much unique lumber,
They
like
do.
stuff that
They
you
do.
wouldn't
It's
find.
amazing.
So I've definitely worked with them a lot, and it's always cool to kind of swing by there and kind of check out what they have, because they have so much variety.
Yeah, they do. That's awesome. I'm glad to see that you're mixing it up and getting some urban wood in there.
Totally.
After you tell.
Yeah. I would love to do more of that. It's just, I feel like lately, like you kind of got to go with the trends, and I swear white oak is just, it's every.
Do you see it changing soon? Do you see like because it seems to go in like these 10-year cycles of light wood, now dark wood, and the nice clean lines to let's get wild and get character, and it just seems to go like this. Do you see it like changing soon on this? I'm curious. So
I think like walnut and maple and stuff like that is kind of starting to like kind of taper in. I've been feeling like there's definitely been like I've been getting more requests for it. So maybe like people are trying to switch it up a little more, like hopefully if you think about like the 70s, how everything was like that red oak with the round over and the lacquer yellow stain and stuff. So it's like hopefully in 10 years people aren't like, what did we do? Like everything's white oak now. We gotta switch it up.
It'll feel dated. It will totally feel dated in the future. Yeah, I've actually seen a lot of people hacking it because like white oak is so expensive now that that they're using red oak with like white oak stain on top.
Stain.
Yeah, like a white oak stain. The grain patterns are not as you could still kind of tell it's red oak, but
Totally.
it has the white oak stain on top. Are there any other trends that you see that you like lately in your builds that you've been coming up against?
Yeah, I think I've been doing a lot more like fluting and reading lately, which has been cool. Like, and I'm drawn to more like different types of texture rather than like the standard kind of half round timbre style. I've been doing a lot of like the scallop, which is kind of like the inverse. And yeah, I think like kind of more textured doors, kind of more of that is seeming like it's kind of starting to rise up in the trend for sure.
Do you see that people are wanting something just a little more unique and not as cookie cutter as before, like something that's just personal? Or
Definitely. Yeah, I can definitely see that, especially kind of it's fun. I really like working with the interior designers because I feel like they have like a really good direction already. And sometimes it's kind of nice and a little bit easier for me when like I have a little bit of direction, because then I can like modify it if I need to and suggest ideas.
Gets you started, kind of gets that ball rolling, gets it started when they give you the main concept. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure your artistic flair would like that or dislike that part of your work.
Yeah. I mean, I think like I was saying before, like just the process of building and the satisfaction of like just kind of making stuff just gives me a lot of creative like satisfaction, I guess you could say.
Cool. Yeah.
But yeah, it is nice to kind of get those projects where people are like, do your thing, and then I get to like put things in CAD and kind of go back and forth with the client with some designs too.
Fun. What's the part of your job that if you could get rid of it and just have it not exist anymore, what would that be for you?
Installing and probably pricing and like invoicing and stuff like that is definitely not one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. Well, as you grow and aren't the one-man shop, you're a one-man shop, right?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, you can start delegating and focus on your creative outlet. So.
Yeah, totally. And I actually have like a baby boy coming in like 10 days, first kid. No, I'm excited for an employee, you know.
I think that's why my dad had kids, so I can relate to that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
That's funny. Well, that's a good segue. So this is a part of the podcast where you get to ask any marketing or business advice. Is there anything that we could help you with? Anything that we could, anything that you need advice on?
Trying to think. I guess like what you guys would suggest for like a long term, because I feel like, at some point, like I'll probably end up getting like a little burnt out as I get older. So I think, I definitely want to keep this business going. So I think eventually it'd be cool to like maybe hire on like kind of like a foreman or someone that I can work that has the same skill set as I do, to kind of assist me in the shop. Yeah, I guess just a question about, how you guys feel about that or what you would suggest.
Yeah. Well, let me see if I can repeat the question. It's like, how do you build a business? How do you structure and build your business so that it's not all dependent on you in the future, just in case you get burnt out? Is that the right question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Jennifer, you want to take it first and then I'll chime in?
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid to ask for help. That's the one thing, first thing. And then also don't think of it as having to wait until you can afford that one full-time employee to do that. Look at other little hacks or different little services. I mean, for instance, totally unrelated, but I don't have a full-time IT person, but I pay a monthly service for unlimited IT stuff because I don't need that much. And so think outside of the box into those types of things, and then you can get what you want until you can afford to have your own in-house, all of these different things.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. I think too, because like, when it comes to the design process, like I'll kind of do start to finish. Like I'll be the one to do the CAD drawings, and I know there's like so many people that are so fast at doing shop drawings or CAD drawings and even kind of like the stuff the ones that look like 3D realistic.
Yeah.
You could probably outsource some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that for sure.
So that I'll chime in for sure. So one thing is the first thing I always tell people to do is outsource your sanding. right? Because that is a very low hanging fruit way. And it's like, it's like the gateway drug to delegating, right? Like your brain, aside from listening to podcasts, right? Like while you're sanding, you could probably be doing something else while you're sanding. And sanding is a teachable skill. And you can do that by like, you know, going to a Facebook group and asking if there's like a retired person or somebody or an out of work person that has some skill. And if you know that you're going to get, you know, let's just say 10, 15 grand for something, right? Like allocate an hourly wage and guesstimate how many hours it would take to do it. And like, that's like a very small thing that you can start doing. It's just like outsource your sanding. And then the next part would be like, while that person is not sanding, then they can sweep up.
Yeah.
And put things back in place. Idea. And then the next thing too is like what Jennifer just said is what you want to do is, so like for my design business, I outsource all my CAD stuff, all of it. So like you can go to Fiverr or you can go to Upwork and you give somebody an inspiration, you give them dimensions. And I have a design and architect team in Turkey. Like I have 2 people that are like designers and architects, like licensed architects that can do 3D, and they could even do like moving stuff too, like 3D renderings. So like,
kind of like a video, like tour almost. Yeah.
So, and then you can take that, you pay them a smaller wage, and then you like add more on top. So now you have an additional revenue stream by the people making you money. So like, you know, those are the first things that I would do. And like, honestly, since you're about to have a kid, it might be a little bit too much right now, but like I would look to see if within the next month, like, cause you're going to take some time off, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So like make a post and then start text interviewing people to see like, and then, you know, 1 day a week, you know, while your kid is sleeping, you go in and you interview people and then you show them how to sand. And like, that could be a great way so that you're not losing money while you're on paternity leave, caring for your new family. Like you're actually making money. Projects are moving along. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
You're going to want to take vacations. You're going to want to do those things and be able to afford to do those things. And that's just keeping that business running so that you're not the begin all end all for everything. So,
yeah, for sure. Thanks for that.
Is that helpful?
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, sanding is like, sometimes it takes the longest out of anything, you know, sanding and finishing. So even that
creation is, so that's how your work is.
Yeah, that could be another thing too, is just having people like doing finishing, doing staining.
Yeah, you can outsource all of that and then just add it in and mark it up. Add it in. Go to somebody so that you could stay focused on what you're good at, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Awesome.
Stay in your passion.
So tell everybody your website and your Instagram so they can follow your beautiful work.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram. It's just Coyote Woodwork. And then my website is coyotecustomwoodwork.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris, for your time and for sharing your story. And we look forward to getting your story out to the Woodpreneur community.
Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. Talk soon.
Bye.
Thank you.